I'd like to have Mike Saunders come up, and he's going to give us a great teaching on planning and doing it God's way. So welcome Mike with me.
Thank you. So I'm Mike Saunders, and my business is Marketing Huddle, and it's a marketing coaching and consulting firm, and I work with small businesses, helping them define out their competitive advantage, target audience, and strategic alliances. And interesting, yesterday I said to Jim, look at my presentation, get a feel for it. He goes, nope, I trust you. You'll see quite a few of his points that he already made are aligning right up with what we're going to talk about. So I think that's definitely God leading. Here's something that he said that I wanted to kind of bank off of here real quick. If you don't have your goals and your resolutions and your plan for 2015 done, and I could say show of hands, no, it doesn't matter, because I would say that if you have them done, the tendency is who works off of a to-do list? I want to see hands on that. So to-do list, a lot of to-do lists, right? If subconsciously we get our plan and our resolutions and our goals for 2015 done, and we feel like check, and it's done. And we almost put it aside mentally and let it collect digital dust on our computer, and we never go back to it. So in one sense, not having your plan done and having it be this living, breathing, vibrant thing throughout the year we pray about and seek God's face on for our business and our personal lives. And you'll see one of the slides, it's not just about business, it's personal, spiritual, physical, financial. If you're out of balance in any one of those areas, and balance is another big word, but if you don't have them done today, take a breath. Doesn't matter, just work on it and let it continually grow throughout the year. And there's a really good speaker and a good book out called The Lean Startup. Maybe the Lord taps us on the shoulder throughout the year and says, you know what, not that this was a waste of time the first quarter, but a little bit this way. And then throughout the next quarter, maybe we need, so I think keeping those goals and the focus on the Lord in mind throughout the year maybe means that our planning is done throughout the year, not just a to-do thing that we can mark to done. With that, we will get started. What does the Bible teach about setting goals? Because we do want to seek God's face and make sure that we're doing things with the right direction, right? So let's take a look at Philippians 3:13 and 14. Brethren, I do not count myself to have apprehended, but one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forward to those things which are ahead, I press toward the goal for the prize of the upward call of God in Christ Jesus. Very familiar verse. The thing that jumps out at me about that verse is forgetting those things that are behind. How many times do we mentally and consciously beat ourselves up over something that we did business-wise? God wants us to look at some mistakes that we've made as learning experiences. In fact, I was listening, was it yesterday? It was Tuesday night, because my girls play basketball in Vista, and from here to there is not just down the street. So I drove up there to the game. So on the way up there, I maximized my time, and I was listening to a really good speaker. Has anyone heard of Les Brown? If you haven't, listen to Les Brown. He's awesome. But he was talking about if you have not had failure in your life and business, you haven't started living yet, because you're going to make a mistake. Well, look at this verse. Forget that. Learn from it, but then let it go, because we need to look forward, and that gives us the image that there's something to look forward to. We have those goals and those plans, those godly desires that he wants for our life and our business, so we need to look forward to that. Proverbs 6:6-11 talks about to live with no motivation or planning is not God's desire either. So what about the people that say, I'm in God's will, I've done things God's way, he'll just bring things across my path. He doesn't want you to sit there in front of the TV with the clicker going, okay, when that opportunity wants to come across my path, he'll bring it to me. No, because look at this verse. Go to the ant, O sluggard, consider her ways and be wise. Without having any chief, officer, or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer and gathers her food in harvest. How long will you lie there, O sluggard? When will you arise from your sleep? A little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber and want like an armed man. So it's been chilly out, right? this morning, chilly, not freezing cold, but was there anyone in here this morning that when the alarm went off, did the thought cross your mind, these covers feel so good, right? I don't know, it might be 20, 30 degrees out there, but you're here. So virtual round of applause for everyone here because you're making the first step to being diligent, to feeding yourself mentally, physically, spiritually, learning some things. Might not even be anything about this presentation. The thing that you might have needed to learn today might come from chatting with someone at the table afterwards. So keep that in mind. But look at this. Wisdom. So be wise. What's another thing that jumps out at me here is most everyone here is a business owner, but wouldn't you love to see an employee of your business take this approach, which is look at without having any chief officer or ruler, she prepares her bread in summer, gathers in harvest. That makes me think of the concept called intrapreneurship. So we're all entrepreneurs, right? Own a business, making our way. An intrapreneur, has anyone not heard of that term before? Intrapreneur? And let me just say this, Mick, I see you taking pictures of the slides. On the website right now is every one of these slides that you can download, and on the back you see the address, so feel free to do whatever you want there, but they're all ready to download. You can print them off, read them again, take notes on them, so every one of these slides are on the website. An intrapreneur is someone that's let's say that one of your employees, they work for your business, but they have an entrepreneurial spirit inside of an organization. And an intrapreneur, Google it, but it's an actual term because I teach the class. So I teach marketing strategy for 3 different universities. One is Colorado Christian University, one is Grand Canyon, and then another small school out in Wisconsin called Cardinal Stritch. But that's a class I teach called intrapreneurship. Well, it's the mindset of being creative and entrepreneurial in the umbrella of some company. What if one of your employees took that approach of being intrapreneurial, all within the confines of not going out and being a wild, crazy person, but knowing your vision and your goals for the company because you've set them up, but you see them taking some initiative in little ways and big ways. Wouldn't that be a really valuable employee? Yes. So this is a really wonderful verse for us to realize we can't just sit back and hope that it happens or put that fake trust in the Lord and which is really just an excuse for being lazy. We need to go to the ant and realize that the ant is really diligent. Like Jim said earlier today and last month, and if you've weren't at last month's meeting or haven't seen the video, go and look at it. It's right on the website. It's under media. And again, thanks to Joico, because what a wonderful ability that gives us, because do you know that there's a lot of people that did pull the covers up over their heads or had a true need that they couldn't be here? Well, in a few days, to be able to watch this again and learn from this is a really good service. So that's something that Joico is donating, and we want to thank them for that. But seasons of life is what Jim talked about. Look at this contrast. Laziness causes a person to neglect work and fail to exploit the window of opportunity. What if we're in a season where God's given you some opportunities? Remember Jim said last time that there was a season in his business where it's like everything we touched just fell into place. That's a nice season to be in. And you know how, sometimes the feeling is, I don't know what season I'm in. Well, if things are happening that way, you're in that season. But what if, summer is the preparation of time for winter and we dare not while it away? The verse talking about the sluggard won't even raise his hand to his mouth to feed himself, or he's not going to go out there at the harvest time. Well, you need to prepare. What about Joseph? Remember in Egypt, and there was the 7 years of famine, the 7 years of abundance, and Joseph wisely said, the word of the Lord says, let's maintain what we're having here in this abundant time, because there's going to be a time that comes. Well, what if we feel like in this time of abundance, maybe right now, we're going to conserve and put away? And what if that true famine time doesn't really come as a harsh famine time? Well, that's just been good, wise planning. I can tell you in my personal life, there was a time when the whole market did this. Probably every single person in here was affected somewhat. Well, in the years before that, my wife and I had made some really wise financial moves, which made the dip hurt, but just not be devastating. And so I think we can look back and see that that's how God leads us. But failure to plan ahead will result in poverty and want. And look at Proverbs. Wisely setting goals leads to better results. The plans of the diligent lead to profit. So is it wild profit and, money just flowing every which way? No, profit could just mean I'm taking care of you. The definition of success might not be 4 vacation homes, 3 cars, and 2 boats. It might just mean I'm achieving a worthy goal, and the worthy goal could be business-wise, fitness-wise, financial-wise, but all within the realm of a kingdom focus. And God, what do you want me to do? A profit or a success could be you are so ready financially that when someone comes through your church and says, we are heading to the mission field, that you're able to write that check for thousands of dollars. Maybe that's your feeling. Maybe that's your part of your success. So just because we've done our planning doesn't guarantee our goals will be met, because God doesn't work on a check 1, 2, 3, ding, here it is, right? God wants to see our heart's desire. And if we feel like, ooh, I'm doing X, Y, and Z so I can get P, D, and Q, maybe that's not the formula God wants, because it's not some magical, I'm doing this, Lord, you owe me, right? It's cast your bread upon the water and it'll come back shaken together, pressed down, but it doesn't say when it's going to come back and how big the cup is going to be that it's going to go in to be shaken together. It might be a thimble, but God's always promised to provide for us. So the process of setting goals must be infused with humility. Wow, didn't Jim speak of that this morning? So James teaches, now listen, you who say today or tomorrow we'll go to this city or that city, spend a year there, carry on business and make money. Why? You do not even know what will happen tomorrow. What is your life? You are a mist that appears for a little while and then vanishes. That's kind of harsh, right? And it's kind of like another verse that talks about, hey, don't worry, God's going to take care of you because look at the lilies of the field. Meaning he adorns things in nature. He's going to definitely take care of us, but we're a mist, here today, gone tomorrow. And in the realm of millions and trillions of years in the future in eternity, what's our little 80, 90, 70 years going to be? Just that fleeting thought. But look at this. Here's this verse that this was a business person. They were saying, we're going to expand into this market. So you guys as business, we're going to go to another state, another country. We're going to go internationally. Whatever your plans are, great, have those plans. But if you can do it with humility, knowing that this verse says, be careful, don't make so many plans and make so many promises that God feels like he's in that back seat. You can't just be sprinting down the road going, come on, God, I've got this. You taught me goal setting. I did it. I used these verses. I'm like the ant. Keep up. God doesn't want that, because we have to have balance. And I was reading, has anyone heard of the speaker Brian Tracy and the book Eat the Frog? Okay, so if you've not read Eat the Frog, read through that. I'm about halfway through now. One of the things I read literally last night was balance. And he was talking about work-life balance. So let's talk about secular spiritual balance in business. So he was asking the author, how do you know if you have work-life balance? How do you know? Is it working 10 hours a day because you used to work 19 hours a day? Is it working 7 hours a day because you used to work 10? What's a work-life balance? And the speaker in the example said, think of the tightrope walker. Remember those on TV, the flying Walendas or whoever those, it's circuses, right? At what point does that person stop thinking about their balance? And the answer is never. So maybe we never stop thinking about our work life, kingdom focus, secular focus, all of these balances in our life, personal, fitness, financial, spiritual. We never stop thinking about that. There needs to always be that balance. So the Bible teaches against 2 extremes, never setting goals and setting goals with no thought of God. Wow, so the never setting goals is the sluggard. The setting goals without no thought of God might be that example of the verse we just read. Hey, we're going to go and do this and accomplish this, and nothing wrong with goals, again, because that's what this is. We need to have goals. But the balanced alternative is found in James 4:15. Instead, you ought to say, if it's the Lord's will, we will live and do this or that. Now, I don't think we need to get so technical to say, well, if it's the Lord's will that I, walk over to this table and sit down when I'm done talking. You can get so bunched up that you miss the forest for the trees. We should pray about everything, right? The Thessalonians says pray without ceasing. But does that mean, Lord, help me as I walk to this side of the podium or this side of the podium? No, but it means to be in that constant state of prayer, to have those goals and aspirations and business goals all looked at through the lens of God's word and God's goals. Just like I instructed Joyco to put a special lens on so that it takes all of my imperfections, and when you see them on the website, they'll just be perfect, just wonderful. So he's guaranteed me that lens is on there. We'll see how it turns out. So look at this. It's good to make plans as long as we leave room for God to change our plans. Ow. So that's pivot. So let's relate that to the business term I mentioned, pivot. Oh Lord, you told me this is the goal in my strategic plan for my business, and you just don't even watch or listen or feel for those taps on the shoulder for God going, wait a minute, slow down or speed up. Remember Jim said this morning about, what if you set your goals at 10% growth? Look in that verse about going to the city and making plans. Maybe 10% is my goal. Or maybe it's not big enough. Maybe God's like, I've got 4 missionaries coming through town that I want you to write 4 checks to, so your 10% really should be 30%. Get to it. Come on, Aunt, right? So what about number 2? His goals take precedence over ours. And sorry, but if we have our Sunday hat on and all of this feels good and our KBA time and we're doing God's will, and then we get into the business, we leave today, and what's the first thing that's going to happen when we leave those doors and cross that globe statue? Grab our phone and see what we've missed. It's 8:30. How much, and all of a sudden you've got a voicemail and an email, and you're going, and you've got your hat on, and now you're in business mode. Maybe this next point here, his goals take precedent over ours. We need to look at it and say, God, I'm the manager of your business. Yeah, my name's at the bottom line. It's my thought, my invention of whatever product or service, but you're running it. I'm your steward. I'm taking care of this. Where would you have me go today? Look at Proverbs 16:9. In his heart a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. Doesn't that prove it's good to make plans as long as we leave room for God and his goals take precedent? So we need to make plans because the Lord doesn't want us just being blown by the winds of change. He wants our plans to be in alignment with his, because I've heard a message from Charles Stanley years ago that said, if we're in the center of God's will, we can do anything we want. And he was saying that in relation to rules and regulations and, your faith is just, you can't do all this. No. You can do whatever you want. Because if you're in the middle of God's will, you won't want to do things that are outside of God's will, right? So that could be business or personal or anything. So in other words, we have our ideas and make our plans, but God will ultimately accomplish his sovereign desires. Do our goals make room for the unexpected? Wow. In business, last year, think back of last year for a second. Did something come up, maybe not tragically, drastically unexpected, but at some point we hit a flat tire. You have to go to Discount Tire and say, fix my flat, right? So during the year, we might have something that comes up unexpected. And then do we love God's will more than our own? Because where our love is, where our treasure is, there will our heart be also. Well, if our treasure is our back pocket and our success, maybe God's in that back seat, and maybe like the song, Jesus Take the Wheel, look, let me be in that driver or in that passenger seat. You're in the driver's seat. Focus. Finally, we can take comfort in the words of Jesus. Seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Our goal setting need not be accompanied by fear. So when Jim mentioned about the 10% example this morning, that's the first thought that I had, which is, what if the Lord is leading you for that 30% bump and you were thinking 10? You might not feel like putting that into place, those plans into place, because you might have a fear of failure, a fear of rejection. Those are some things that happen internally to us just as a human being. I don't know. I might not get it. I might not make that 30%, but you might have made 14, and that's better than the 10 that you were planning on. Shoot for the moon, you'll hit a star. So if you feel the Lord leading you to something and you don't just make rash decisions, expand internationally and a 50% increase of business. I don't know. Let's test that spirit. Let's make sure that is from. So pray about it for a while. Search out the Lord's will in that. But if that's the case, don't let fear rule you, because you could have a fear of failure, a fear of rejection. You could also have a fear of what? Success. So don't let a fear of success keep you from reaching all that God wants you to reach. And guess what? When you come here next 2016 and we look at it 2015 and you go, hey, 10% turned into 30, what'd you do with it? Now that's a whole other talk. I mean, for real, we're doing all these things the right way and business came up. What'd you do with it? You know how a lot of people say, I can tell your priorities by looking at your schedule. Show me your planner, your whatever you use, right? Calendar, Google Calendar, whatever you use. Let's see what you have scheduled throughout the day and planned for the day for the last month. Maybe not the last month because it was holidays and it's downtime, but for the next month, and we'll see your priorities. Do you prioritize your schedule or do you schedule your priorities? Isn't that interesting? Do you, and I mentioned my girls' basketball game. You hear the horror stories, of the people, I wish I had spent more time with my kids. So my kids are 10, 12, 14, and 16. So for years and years, we've made the goal of, we want to be at every possible thing we can be at. And maybe that means driving to Buena Vista, watching an hour-long game and driving back so that they could get back. And the reason I did it was they had to ride up with the boys' team and the girls' team, and we knew that the guys' game was afterwards, and they're going to stop to eat, and they were told, plan to be back at midnight. On a Tuesday night, school night, so I'm hoofing it up the hill, maximizing the time, right? Thinking and listening to good things. And then we got to spend some good time driving back, got back earlier, spent some time with the girls. So focus. If our plans focus on Christ and honor Him, He will see to it that the best results, the eternal results, are ours. That's really huge, because what if that 10% increase or 15 or 20 or 2? Because guess what? Sometimes a penny saved is a penny earned. Sometimes just maintaining in a certain year, like 08, 09, 2010, maybe just maintaining would have been a hallelujah accomplishment. So it doesn't have to be massive, massive increases. So how about positive thinking? On the balance spectrum, you can get really imbalanced and get too much into positive thinking, affirmations, all of that. On the other side, we need to think, there's a biblical basis for this. Has anyone heard of the program called The Strangest Secret? You've raised your hand, most of these, so you're really well versed in some of these. If you haven't, Google it, look it up. You can probably find a quick download. It's The Strangest Secret, put out by Nightingale Conant Corporation. Basically, it's like old-time goal setting, which is, and their premise and the whole thing is, what you think, you become what you think about most of the time. If you know the comic strip, The Born Loser? Haha, born loser. But some people think, I can't do anything. I'm just not good remembering names. Well, guess what? If you think that about yourself, you're going to go, oh, hey, Betty, right? You're gonna keep on doing the things that you tell yourself to do. So what about positive thinking? Is that okay? Well, Proverbs 23:7 says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Well, if you think evil thoughts, you're going to probably be evil. If your thought is, let me build a kingdom business, that's good. So have those positive thoughts. Setting positive goals aligned with Scripture and God's will for your life keeps your focus set in the right direction. Otherwise, we tend to let the winds and waves come crashing in on us. Look at this contrast. From as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let's say that's the positive thought, right? Job 3:25, for the thing I greatly feared has come upon me, and what I dreaded has happened to me. Ooh. So should we be going through business going, I hope I don't go under, I hope I don't go under, I hope I don't lose this contract, I hope I don't lose this job, I hope have that stuck way back, because you want to have a little bit of fear motivation, but you want to have more positive, moving toward something positive, because as a man thinking in his heart, so is he. And then look at what Job said. Now, does that mean a fleeting thought that goes through your mind all of a sudden manifest? No. But just have the overall thought process in your mind focused on the Lord's will and what would please the Lord, because probably if you think about your interactions with people and customers throughout the day and the week and the month, if you're motivated by love and serving them in your business, that's a whole different ballgame than, because people, you ever know the concept, you ever know the concept of a dog can smell fear? Well, your customers can smell when you're needy and need things, right? So I was given the 5-minute mark, so I'm going to try to land the plane here pretty quickly. But since every one of these slides are on the website, so I can just kind of cruise through a little bit quicker, and we'll see if we can get this finished up. We're not going to read each one of these verses, but look at these verses on goals and planning. Commit to the Lord whatever you do. Humans plan the course, but the Lord establishes. Diligent plans. Hasty plans lead to poverty. Wow. Don't think something, then boom, you could not run it through your proper, maybe the Lord has put someone in your life to be a sounding board, a mentor, an accountability partner. So don't go to war without getting a lot of counsel, right? So don't go into a new venture without getting your godly spiritual counsel. 5 key areas of life. Don't just think that we're up at the upper left of business, because we're here talking about business, but wow, spiritual, relationships, physical, and financial all play together. Here's 3 questions. What do you really want? Why do you want it? And how are you going to get it? So if you took, and I would encourage you to download the presentation and go through this exercise right here in all 5 areas of the life. What do you want in business? Why do you want it? How are you going to get it? Okay, that could be a whole day, meaning a 20-minute, slot of time. Could you go through this process through each one of those 5 areas of life? Then you have a decision. You have to commit, no turning back. Here's another good Google search, burn the boats. So it's a good example of this, group went to war and they were halfway to the shore and they said, burn the boats. And like, why? They said, because we better win because we don't have a safety net. And then goal, where do you want to be? So this is the section that you need to print off and just follow some of these here. It's just something that will get you thinking, what do you really want? Think of the area. What decision could you be committed? Look at this last point. Are you interested in doing this thing, or are you committed? Haven't there been things we started and we just kind of let fade away? You weren't committed. You were interested. So as you go through those 5 areas, run through these questions. These are really, really important. Determine what you want, why you want it, and how are you going to achieve it. Here's some reasons that people don't set goals. They're not serious. They don't realize the importance. They don't know what they want. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, and they're stuck on the hows and exactly how to achieve them. So Les Brown is famous for saying this: jump and grow your wings on the way down. So don't wait until this new thing, this new venture is perfect. You'll get analysis of paralysis. Just get started and then tweak a little here, add a little bit there, make it better as you go. Remember, God will never ask you to do something and then not give you the ability to do it. Scripture says in Philippians 3:13, I count not myself to have apprehended, but this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth that are before. We covered that earlier. How about James 4:2? You have not because you ask not. If you're not asking big, then you're shortchanging yourself. You'll never reach your highest potential if you pray small prayers. That goes to Jim's point about 10%, but maybe God wants you to have more. And not asking for more. Oh, look, James says, ask not because God give me a 200% increase so I can buy those 4 extra boats. No. Have your goals aligned with Scripture. Reprogram your computer, load in some new software, meaning how about, set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are below. Colossians 3. Iron sharpens iron. Let us consider another to stir up love and good works. So look at these 2 verses in light of this. How can we come alongside our friends? We've stimulating conversations about life and business. They will encourage both parties. Have you ever encouraged someone in their life and you walk away being encouraged? Have you ever had someone hold you accountable to something? Do you have a goal? Like when you go through these right here, maybe you have a goal in business or spiritual or whatever the case is. Call someone up and have them hold you accountable. Maybe that encourages them and they're like, oh, I should do that. Yeah, let's do it together. And all you were doing is saying, hold me accountable. I want to memorize 1 new verse a month. That's not a lot. At the end of the year, oops, I missed 2 of the months, but I got 10 new verses. How many did you memorize last year? I don't know, but what if it wasn't 10? Have those little goals, right? So if you are going through a tougher time, find someone going through that tough time, encourage them, edify them, because now you might realize a little bit of why you had to go through that time yourself. So here's the final application. Focus on prayer. When you go through these slides and you take those 5 areas of life and you say, Lord, what would you have me to do? What do I want? Why do I want? How I'm going to get it? Make sure they're run through the filter of the Lord's will. And here's another encouragement. Don't spend hours and hours on those things, on each area. A study has shown that if you take 30 seconds, if I said right now, take out a pen and for 30 seconds write down your main goal in your business. 30 seconds, time's up, done. Studies have shown that 80% of the time you're going to write down the same thing as if you had 2, 3, 4 hours, 30 minutes. So the first thing on your mind when you go through this exercise, first approach it in prayer and say, Lord, let me know your will in this as I make these goals, right? Here's a goal-setting workbook that covers these topics. And so if you go to kingdombusinessalliance.com/media, even right now, there's this download, there's the presentation, and then when the video's ready, we'll have that up there. So, and then I'll just say this here. Here's the website. So if you look up here at the top, blog, and then visit our blog page, that's where you'll find blog posts. There's a blog post on there from last month with a video, and then also one on goal setting. And we're going to use throughout January, maybe even dipping into February on just some goal setting type approaches. Events calendar that'll tell you of what the upcoming meetings here. Servant spotlight. So this is, you can read what that page is. There's a little explanation in there. Take a look up. You know what? On this particular screenshot, up at the top, there's one that I added after I took the screenshot. It's called Directory, and you can add your business to that directory and have your business listed there. So go through that and put your logo, your website, your description, and we can have a little directory. And that way, if you need something that you do and you need something that you do, maybe that's a good way that we can all find that. So with that, I will close and just thank you for your attention.